Hello, I'm Eleanor Cowell. I'm a trainee solicitor here at Anthony Gold Solicitors, and I'm here speaking today with Victory Thiru, solicitor in the Housing Department at Anthony Gold. Victory, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Eleanor. Today we'll be discussing compensation for disrepair cases for tenants and for leaseholders.
Great, shall we go straight into the first question? So who is entitled to compensation?
The tenant, leaseholder, and shared ownership occupiers. Damages arise where a landlord has failed to carry out repairs which they knew about to your home. For a tenant, repairs which are under the tenancy and implied into tenancy by law. For a leaseholder and a shared ownership owner, these are repairs that your landlord has failed to carry out under lease.
And how is compensation calculated?
Compensation is generally calculated in two parts. The first part is compensation for pain, suffering, and loss of amenity of having a property in disrepair. The legal term for this is general damages. The second part is compensation for financial losses. The legal term for this is special damages.
And what are general damages?
As I briefly mentioned, general damages compensate you for the pain, suffering, and loss of amenity of having a property in disrepair. In other words, general damages compensate you for the inconvenience, distress, and the loss of enjoyment caused by having to live in a property that is in disrepair, or in some cases, for having to leave your home due to disrepair.
Okay, and how are general damages calculated?
This is decided by a trial judge. It's not an exact science, unfortunately, although over the years the courts have adopted different methods of calculating compensation. In most cases, the courts will calculate damages as a reduction in your rent for the period that the property was in disrepair. For a tenant, you'll essentially receive a percentage of your rent back for the relevant period. For leaseholders, it is accepted by the courts that damages can be awarded as a percentage of the open market rent, so i.e. the average market rent for a property of its kind in the locality. Similar to tenants, the award for damages will be for the period that the property was in disrepair.
And is it the same for shared ownership?
I'm afraid there's no legal authority at the moment for shared ownership disrepair cases. Some lawyers have suggested an approach that incorporates both methods, i.e. a hybrid approach that takes a percentage of the social rent plus a percentage of the open market rent. At the moment, this depends on the factors of the case and something that would need to be looked at more closely.
Okay. So then moving on to the second type of damage, what is a special damage and what could a claimant claim?
As I briefly mentioned, special damages is to compensate you for specific financial losses that arise due to disrepair. An easy example is belongings that have been damaged due to disrepair, for instance, a sofa that is damaged by a leak, or increased heating bills due to drafty windows.
And what kind of evidence would I need to prove a special damage claim?
Generally speaking, the best form of evidence is a receipt or an invoice, but it's widely accepted that most people don't keep old receipts. But you could provide photographs of items. In cases where there is limited evidence, the court would award something, often between 25% to 50% of the special damages claim.
And how far back could I claim compensation?
There are some cases where there have been long-standing disrepair issues. For tenants, you can claim for compensation for 6 years if issues have been continuous. For leaseholders, you can claim up to 12 years, provided issues have also been continuous.
Okay. And if I had suffered injuries as a result of disrepair issues, could I claim compensation for that as well?
Broadly speaking, this can be addressed in one of two ways. If you suffered injuries due to disrepair issues, a judge may take this into account when calculating general damages. Or alternatively, the personal injury claim could be incorporated into the disrepair claim. The trouble with doing this is that with a disrepair claim, you have a limitation period of 6 years if it was a tenant disrepair case, whereas a personal injury claim has a limitation period of 3 years. And depending on the facts of this case, this can mean a lower award of damages. You would need to gather as much evidence as possible to consider the potential value of the PI claim. and whether this is outweighed by potentially losing some of the years of the disrepair claim, and if the disrepair issues are long-standing and longer than 3 years. And there are also further procedural issues to consider that could slow down the case if there is a personal injury element to the case.
Okay. Thank you very much for going through those questions and answering them for me, Victory. And thank you for watching our question answers. If you have any disrepair issues that you would like advice on, please do get in touch with us.
Thank you.